Those are visuals that came out of Pakistan this morning as the time heads towards 20 minutes to 9 a.m. And we are talking Pakistan. We're talking about the march, Imran Khan, and the protest action that is taking place. And we've seen the Shahbaz Sharif government trying to stop and banning the march, and we know we've been waiting for this one. The big march to Islamabad. We've learned about the city being fortified, preventing the PTI and the Imran Khan supporters from entering the city, and this obviously has turned violent. We're going across to Pakistan to unpack this with Sohail Yacoob. Sohail, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum assalam, Inayat, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to express my views on this recent march activity.
Yes, clearly we've seen Prime Minister Imran Khan relentless, adamant. We've seen all the rallies taking place in the various cities, and this was going to be the big one, the march to Islamabad. And we've learned subsequently that the march was banned, and also at the same time we've seen thousands of supporters, and this is something that we have been concerned about, where it's going to lead to violence. And finally, it has happened yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely right. You see, he has been planning on that activity. He was addressing the political gatherings, and he was telling people that soon I am going to give you the date for this march. And he eventually gave that date. But I'm sure you are aware of the recent update that he has aborted this and given the 6 days ultimatum to the government to announce that they have dissolved the government and announced the interim government, and subsequently he wanted them to announce the election as well. And then he has gone back to his home, and at the same time, all the workers who have gathered for that march, or as they call dharna, the sitting, so they all have dispersed, and now the 6 days ultimatum that he has given it to the government, the clock is on now.
Well, obviously the clock is ticking, but we have heard noises coming through from the government and the coalition that the elections will only take place as planned next year. So it does appear as if already the government, the current government, has decided that they are not going to hold that elections, and they're not going to give in to the demands made by Imran Khan and the PTI.
Absolutely right. The government is sticking to their version, as you have said. But just to give you a brief overview, you see, the news came last evening that there is some understanding between the government and the PTI, and Imran will only speak to the political gathering, and then it will disperse. And subsequently, it was vehemently denied by Imran Khan that there is no arrangement or no compromise or agreement between the government and him. But subsequently, this is what it appears, and he did exactly what was reported last evening, that he only spoke to the political gathering, and eventually everything dispersed. Now, there are rumors. Of course, we are relying on the media, but what is going on behind the scene, only those who are privy to this can comment on it. There are news that it has been dispersed on the understanding given by some very influential people that there is going to be a political compromise. But until and unless it emerges, it's very difficult to comment. And at the same time, because Sheikh Rashid, who happens to be the establishment man, at the same time he's with the PTI, and he's saying that things will work out in the next 6 days. So the PDM government is sticking to their agenda, but for them things are very, very difficult. I'm sure you are aware that their meeting with the IMF has failed, which means they are not going to get any dollars from IMF. The economy is in shambles. They can't raise the prices of electricity and fuel, which include petrol and diesel. So I think they are in a fix. They don't know what to do. So I think it's in the interest of everyone that they soon announce the election. This is my take on the subject.
Well, certainly, and also the question would be: we know that Imran Khan and the PTI have been relentless since he was removed from power, and his party was removed from power. And we've seen all the jalsas taking place, we've seen all the rallies taking place, the marches, and until they get to this election stage, the key question here would be: is how much longer will the PTI and Imran Khan continue sustaining the pressure, continue protesting against the government until their demands are met?
I think with the support they're having immense support. There is no doubt that at this point in time, Imran Khan is the most popular political leader of Pakistan. But having people to come out and make a sit-in would be a tough call, because people can come out, attend your political gathering for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, max 5 hours. But what happened earlier when he staged a sit in for 140 days, there was a religious party who was with him. And I think if you want to do a sit in, you have to have a religious party with you. Unfortunately, at this point in time, all the religious parties who can support him in doing any kind of sit in are not with him. JUI is with the PDM. PAT has already, that's Pakistan Awami Tehreek, Tahir al Qadri, who was partner with him earlier, have already distanced himself with them or the party from them. And TLP is also not with them. So I don't think so. Okay, Imran Khan can do a sit-in at this point in time. The only thing he can do, he can mount pressure by giving political statement, doing political rallies. But a sit-in activity would be disastrous for him. That's again my take on this subject.
Yes. Now, also, I think the big concern is looking at the wave of support that Imran Khan has, and looking at the potential for things turning ugly as they did yesterday in Islamabad, and going ahead in the future in terms of civil unrest. What are the risks of civil unrest in Pakistan from now until the elections, and also if the Shahbaz Sharif government is adamant that they are not going to give in to anything that the PTI is calling for or asking for?
The possibility of civil unrest is very high. If you recall, in the earlier stage in Imran Khan tore the electricity bill when the electricity was not provided uninterruptedly to the consumers. So he tore the electricity bill and said, we are not going to pay that. So he has a potential of taking people to the civil unrest, which would be very, very unfortunate for the country, which may be in line with his agenda, but not good for the country. Yes, he has that capacity and the potential to direct people towards civil unrest.
Well, definitely. And also, when one looks at Imran Khan, looking at his history, the celebrity status that he had enjoyed in Pakistan, and also looking at what he had basically intended for Pakistan. Now, the one issue that you mentioned to me is the IMF has basically turned its back on Pakistan. And this was a major issue. This was a major turning point for Imran Khan as well, with regards to the IMF and the loans. And also, the key issue here is the external influence in the removal of Imran Khan. We know about the United States of America. We know about the document that Imran Khan has been talking about. Now, it would be quite interesting to see how the Shahbaz Sharif government responds to this, because these were some key issues, these were some critical issues that led to the removal of Imran Khan, that he had taken loans and he had put Pakistan in a worse position than what it was over 3 years ago when he had taken power.
Fully agreed. You see, there is a general consensus among people that he has been removed, though democratically. I understand that the vote of no confidence was staged against him. He was removed through a political process, but because of the external influence. Unfortunately, PDM government and including Shehbaz Sharif, they are not enjoying a good reputation in the eyes of the people. So until and unless they need probably a miracle to perform in the economic front, which is the primary concern. But unfortunately for that, they don't have any reserve or any spare money to give any kind of relief to the people, because they are, all the PDM parties are established thief in the eyes of people of Pakistan. There is no doubt about it. And the kind of political steps they have taken, also people are aware, because when he took the entire cabinet to London, which again gives the idea that they are not independent in their decision making. So why to have a puppet government? Unfortunately, Pakistan at the moment is in a catch 22 situation, because there is a deep uh, ditch, and there's a deep, so they are in a catch 22 situation. They don't know how to move ahead, because they can't rely, they can't trust on the PDM, but at the same time, Imran Khan government have not, have failed. They're not able to give the kind of relief people were looking at, and the promises he has made. So I think the future for Pakistan is, if not bleak, but then very, very difficult. I think the inflation would be all time high. The cost of goods would be all time high, and people would be having a lot of difficulties in meeting the ends in their day to day life.
Well, it is a clear case of being caught between a rock and a hard place, Brother Sohail.
Yeah,
Jazakallah.
I was struggling to find that. True.
Well, certainly. But Jazakallah for your time with us as always. We do appreciate you taking time out, talking to us, and we wish you all the best, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam, and thank you very much once again. God bless you.
Sohail Yacoob joining us out of Pakistan and providing an update on the Imran Khan march to Islamabad yesterday that somehow turned violent. And, there's still a lot more that is going to take place in this country, assure me. So, assure you. So, let us keep on watching the space. And I'm sure from time to time, we will provide you with regular updates and analysis on what is developing in Pakistan. The time is just gone 8:52. We come back. We'll be talking with Imtiaz Sayed, chairperson of Etiquini Secure, and this is our weekly edition of Crime Talk.